Hi, everybody. I'm Emily.
And I'm Vince.
And this is the Lighthouse Lowdown.
Nice.
I'm off my game. Usually I have something to say. We can say thank you to everyone who sent us engagement well wishes.
Yeah, that was nice.
So nice. And we also got a couple of new lighthouses to cover, so
let's go.
Appreciate that.
We had some emails then?
Yes,
Nice.
I know exactly what we're going to be covering next time due to our wonderful listeners. It'll be a Valentine's Day episode post-Valentine's Day.
Nice. That'd be good.
Yeah, when you and I recorded, it'll still be Valentine's Day.
Romantic.
Yeah, romance before our little trip, our little getaway. I have not done this in a long time.
We're back.
I'm excited.
We are so back.
We are so back and in it.
We are back.
I have a history buoy, which I found while I was researching this lighthouse.
That's the best way to find them.
Yeah, it is.
Accidentally.
Thank you for the fervor in your voice. I appreciate that. You're really. How long have you been drinking Coke?
15 minutes.
Okay, excellent. So
Coca-Cola, everyone.
We're like at the peak, mixed with drugs. Okay, that was a lie. History buoy I'm covering today is the Los Angeles Lighthouse Challenge.
Oh, there's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just L.A.
Vince did a whole episode, right, on New Jersey Lighthouse Challenge.
That's right.
And so I'm just going to do a little history buoy over the LA Lighthouse Challenge, which
Very cool.
Came up because the lighthouse we're covering today had a 105th anniversary. And so I don't know if this is a recurring thing or if it was only for the anniversary that they did this, because it was like very small scale. Don't know.
Yeah, but 105 is not a particularly...
150.
Oh, okay.
Did I say 105?
105th, yeah.
105th?
That's what you said, I think.
Oh my gosh. And to think that
I'd be like, that's kind of random.
I moved the 5 and the 0 and then spoke it like in words and still didn't catch it.
Word. For real.
It's on a whole new level. Okay, so I have a photo that has some of the details of it, but it was on Saturday, July 13th of this last year, so I don't know if it'll be a thing that they do this year too, but I guess we can wait and see.
Okay.
Summertime. The goal was to collect 5 stamps at 4 different locations in LA. And when you collect them all, you get a souvenir prize. So it's very similar to the New Jersey Challenge. I'm sure that's where they got the idea for this, because it's
nice.
The same thing. You go to a point, you pick up your packet that comes with little gifts and then your stamp pamphlet.
I wonder, I never thought about it being an original idea. New Jersey. Wow. New Jersey Lighthouse Challenge. I just thought it was a great idea, but I guess you could do it anywhere. This is interesting. It's one city. So tell us when you find out, whenever we talk next, if it's recurring or if it was a one-time.
I'll have to keep an eye peeled.
I have a feeling it's recurring.
I hope it is. I hope like it went well and they're like, oh, we should do this every year.
This is the first time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, as far as I know.
Yeah.
It didn't seem to be like a thing that happened over and over, but 5 different stamps. 2 of them are at Point, is it Vicente?
Where's that? Oh, yeah, Vicente.
Vicente. And we start at Point Fermin Lighthouse, which is the lighthouse we're covering today. You also have to end at Point Fermin Lighthouse in order to get your souvenir prize. So you have to like start there to get your pamphlet and everything, get a stamp, and then you can head over to Angel's Gate, Fresnel lens at the Maritime Museum, because Angel's Gate, it's here in LA and you can see it from the Marine Aquarium. What is it? Cabrillo?
I don't see.
Under stamp number 3, Cabrillo?
Oh, Cabrillo, I think.
Sorry, everybody. But from the Maritime Aquarium, you can see the Angel's Gate Lighthouse, which is closed to the public. But they have the Fresnel lens at the LA Maritime Museum. So you can get a stamp for that. Go to the LA Harbor Lighthouse, which is the Marine Aquarium, has that stamp. And then you'd go to Point Vicente and get a stamp for their lighthouse and at the Interpreter Center.
Nice. It doesn't look so bad. I see the first 3 are all San Pedro.
Yeah,
same area code.
I'm about to pull up a map of where they are in relation to each other.
Heck yeah.
And I also put it on Was that just one or both?
That was one cat.
I hope they're okay.
He just ran into the post of our table on his way to go to the feeder.
Oh.
The feeder goes off every day at the same time, just so people know. So
Was that Joey?
yeah, that's
yeah,
our
Joey
dumb cat.
will decide to poop
He's
as
literally
the feeder goes off.
he's pooped on the way to the feeder before.
Yeah, he's just abandons the litter box and just suffers the consequences of doing that mid poop. Anyway, so I'm gonna pull up a map in a second of what it looks like, and I put it in biking timeline so that if you wanted to bike this, it gives you some timing. I don't think you could walk it, and you could easily drive it. So the timeline is between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m.
Sure.
And they put a little hint on their website that said, Point Fermin, actually you can get in at 9:30 if you wanted to get a little head start. Wink, wink. Little
nice.
There for the head start, people.
30 minutes.
But yeah, so, and you
Nice.
could really do it in whatever order you wanted, but you just have to start and end at Point Fermin Lighthouse.
Nice.
Here's a look. I did not include going back from Point Vicente from there to back to Point Fermin, and that's the longest stretch. So it's probably about a 2-hour bike ride to hit everything.
Yeah.
Which, when you think about it, is not that bad. Although that is...
We went to see my
miles.
mom in Boise, Idaho, and rode on the bike trail there. How many miles? Did we do 18?
We did 18 miles, but...
It was a day. Now, we took all sorts of breaks.
Okay, I was thinking that doesn't really make sense for it to be 12 miles in only an hour and 15 minutes. Because we biked way longer than that.
Maybe this is people who are cyclists versus me on a bike with flat tires.
Yeah. Oh.
Anyways.
So yeah,
cool.
It's bikeable, and I may even like give it a go, but obviously driving is going to be your best bet. But
you do some training first.
You want to enjoy the ride too. So that's our LA Lighthouse Challenge that happened this past year. Pretty fun. Oh, you can see Angel's Gate out there next to the Maritime.
Oh yeah, so you can see it from there.
Yeah.
From the Marine Aquarium.
Mm-hmm. They have a way for you can view it from a distance.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we're going to be zeroing in on Point Fermin Lighthouse. It's just at the bottom of our little map that we have pulled up here. So we are in California. Point Fermin's next to Long Beach and only 30 minutes south of LA. So when Southern California's first railroad, the Los Angeles and San Pedro Railroad, was built in 1869, it connected the Bay and LA, which at that time was like booming. And so like there was tons of growth there, and like the addition of the railroad meant that they needed a lighthouse. So there was a request made in 1869 for the Lighthouse Board to add a lighthouse in this area. A site was selected on the bluff of Point Fermin, and in 1872, $20,000 was appropriated for a lighthouse.
Cool.
And at that time, the land had multiple owners. I don't really know. I don't know what that means. Like somebody owns like a mile of it, and someone else owns, or I guess acres, I should say. Hey!
Could be square miles.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yep.
1 square mile.
Yeah, I don't know.
But no problem. The government just took them to court and stole it.
Eminent domain.
Yeah. Where they're like, oh, multiple owners, so it would have been impossible to figure out how to pay these people.
Yeah, they didn't have Venmo yet.
And so then they just took them all to court.
Couldn't split it.
It's so funny when I read that. I'm like, oh my gosh, those guys have to have been like, well, there goes our family land.
Yeah,
like,
that was our legacy.
So our lighthouse, Point Fermin. Point Fermin was built from California redwood and fir, so
cool.
It's pretty fancy. And it's beautiful, ornate Victorian structure, 30 feet tall, and was a square integral lighthouse. It may be familiar to you. I'll put up a picture.
Hey.
Yeah. This is a sister light to Hereford Inlet and East Brother Island Lighthouse. Nice. And a few more that are all no longer standing. So as of this episode, we'll have covered all the sister lighthouses that are still standing.
What a fam.
I know. It's so cute.
To describe, you would say like cottage style?
Yeah, it's the stick style architecture.
That's right.
Victorian. It's white, black shutters, brick
Awesome geometry.
Yeah.
Bracing.
Very pleasing to the eye. And this is updated, so I don't know. I'm sure they didn't stray far from original on like paint colors and stuff. So we can probably count on this being
Beautiful.
historically correct. Yeah, very nice looking lighthouse. It's still original, so it's lasted since it was built in the 1870s.
Nice.
Its fourth order lens was lit on December 15th, 1874 by its first two keepers, who were sisters Mary and Ella Smith. So our first keepers are women, and
Highly
they're
unique.
like sisters. I have never heard of that before. It's so cool.
What was their story? How'd they get into that business?
They came from another lighthouse. So I think in Washington.
Okay.
And that was another thing, is the
Rough.
lighthouse that they were at must have been closer to civilization or something. Because at this time, yeah, the area was booming, but it was long before anybody was living in this area, you know. So it was only like 8 years that they lasted before they resigned, saying that the area was too lonely.
Wow.
I know, which is so funny considering the current population.
8 years is pretty good, though.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good. But here's a postcard, I believe in 1900.
That's so cool.
Just kind of like bare bones and shows the bluff really well.
Did they have to move this lighthouse?
No, they haven't.
Man, it's
it
close
must
to
just
that
be
bluff.
Like really rocky. So
Tectonic rock.
the light characteristic originally was red and white, switching every 20 seconds, I think.
That's how you read it?
That's how I read it. It was rotated by clockwork weights that you had to wind up. 15-ish years later, in 1889, the characteristic changed from alternating red and white to fixed white. And as more lighthouses started to pop up in the area and like made it really confusing, they changed it to a flashing white in 1912.
Okay, yeah.
So, which is interesting. Why would you build a lighthouse? Like, this is right next to Angel's Gate Lighthouse. I don't know anything about Angel's Gate. I've heard of it. But I don't know anything about it.
It's the other one that's still there?
Yeah, it's the one that's that you see from the Maritime Aquarium. But why would you build a lighthouse and then give it a fixed white characteristic? It's like this one was changed to fixed white, and then it got confusing because new lighthouses popped up, and it's like, well, then why'd you give them the same characteristic as one that's already nearby?
I don't know. Do you think they decide? We've never talked about this.
I know.
Do they decide the day mark, for that matter, but also the light characteristic before they finish construction?
I would think they would be like, okay, so this one's really close to this lighthouse and this one's fixed white, so let's make this one fixed red or flashing white or something.
I mean, I know we've been doing this for years, but maybe they have different meanings. Like fixed white, stay away, and now this one's more stay away than that one was, because this one's even more critical of a place. I don't know. I don't know. Or maybe it's because the new one has a better Fresnel lens, so it's got a longer range, and so that one should be flashing.
Maybe it's a lot more expensive to have clockwork and rotating and stuff, and so then all of them ended up being fixed colors, but none of them had flashing capabilities, so then this one switched to flashing white.
That'd be nice to reduce the amount of work they had to do.
Yeah.
Clockwork.
You just think that would be the first point of concern, is that everybody's knows exactly which lighthouse is which. That's the
what
point.
It's for.
Yeah. I don't know. But that's what happened here. 1917, keeper Willie Austin became head keeper along with his wife and 7 kids, plus one more after they were living there.
Let's go.
When his wife passed away unexpectedly from an operation, keeper Willie died from a broken heart.
Oh, man.
I know. The same year.
Mr. Willie.
Dang it, Willie. Couldn't keep it together without his wife.
That's crazy.
You think about that being 8 kids that are suddenly orphaned.
So he had a heart attack type of thing?
Yeah.
Like he just died on unknown cause?
Yeah. They just say broken heart. So there's got to be some scientific explanation for what that means, because I hear it's a real thing.
I don't know.
Like, what does
if
it
anyone
mean?
out there knows a scientific explanation to dying of a broken heart, let us know.
Yeah, is it like you just don't have the will to go on and you just wisp away?
One of those, you slap the hood. It is what it is.
Slap the hood. But because of this, their children, Thelma and
Luis?
I want to say Juanita?
Okay.
Decided to keep the light in their stead, saying, quote, "We had a sacred duty to perform, to keep the heroic work which our parents started. End quote.
Wow.
So
That's pretty cool.
another pair of sisters running the lighthouse after way different circumstances, but still.
And how old were they? They must have been old enough to
They must have
do
been
all this business.
Yeah, I'm
You know,
not sure
adults.
exactly.
They must have been
but
15 or something.
yeah, by those standards, true. Thelma was headkeeper until 1927, so I don't know how many years that was. Maybe like 3, maybe 2, I think.
Okay.
That she ran it with her sister, and then this marked the end of keepers at this lighthouse. So the Los Angeles Park Department struck a deal that meant a park superintendent could keep the light and live there because it was now electrified, so it was like a lot easier of a job.
When was it electrified? 1923?
I think this is probably the same year, 1927.
Dang.
I know.
That's early.
Very early. Especially the West Coast. I feel like those lighthouses were like behind the times compared to East Coast, which were like always on top of things.
I guess.
But I guess that's just a feeling and not based on fact.
That's nuts. That must be one of the first. I can't remember all the years in history, but that must be one of the early ones to be electrified.
It must be.
At least in California.
Well, because let me see. The first one.
I know we've talked about it, which is why I bring it up, but I don't remember the details. What numbers?
Lighthouse. I'm pretty sure it was the first one to get electricity.
Shocking.
1898. So that's like 30 years after this.
20-something.
Okay, so we'll have to look up
Never mind.
Like which lighthouses were electrified in which order. But it is true that it took what 20s is still pretty good for getting electrified. I think a lot of them put it off for a while because it didn't really matter.
40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 1990s. I mean,
in some cases.
The eyebrows shot up in some cases. You dirtbag.
Dirtbag?
Yeah.
I would never even think that in my head.
Landlubber.
Landlubber. So yeah, now we have no more keepers past that point. It's kind of crazy. 2 days after the Pearl Harbor attack, the lighthouse went dark.
What a shock.
They put out the lighthouse for good. It was never
went
lit.
dark so that it wasn't going to be bombed, probably.
Well, yeah, we don't want to aid enemy ships and like submarines. And
or get bombed.
And so.
And they never relit it?
No, is the end of this lighthouse being lit.
1941?
You'd know better than me.
Circa 1941.
Mm-hmm. You don't remember off the top of your head when Pearl Harbor was?
Well, June 6th, 1942 was D-Day. Let me look that up.
Okay.
This is a quiz. Hold on.
History quiz. You know more about war than...
1944.
Oh.
I thought the war ended in 45.
Well, yeah, that's...
Okay. Attack on Pearl Harbor was December 7th, 1941. And June of 1944, we were in the war.
Okay. So December 9th, this lighthouse went
1941.
Dark.
Crazy.
For good.
I was kind of right.
Huh?
I was kind of right.
Yeah, for sure.
Let the record show.
There were some correct numbers in there. But yeah, most of the lighthouses on the West Coast went dark after this happened, just to avoid aiding. But Point Fermin did not get relit, so that was unlike most other lighthouses. I'm not sure why, but probably because it's surrounded by other lighthouses that had similar light characteristics. Shortly after extinguishing, the lantern room was removed and replaced with a chicken coop, which is basically just a windowed room to keep an eye out from, like a lookout tower.
Oh, yeah.
A picture of what it looked like with its chicken coop.
Interesting.
So basically anything from the balcony up was removed and replaced to be useful in war. And after the war, a light on a metal pole replaced the light. Which is always so funny. Like, I didn't include a picture in here, but you can look it up. It's literally a metal pole with a light on top. So sad. Like, with some antenna or whatever. Like,
Wimpy.
Gorgeous architecture, just beautiful historical lighthouse. And then it's just like, meow. It's a little antenna. The Coast Guard considered demolishing the light in 1972. And then Bill Olison, I want to say, just going to go forward with that, and anyone feel free to correct me. He had first visited the lighthouse at 8 years old and spent his whole life nearby, and he teamed up with the coordinator of the Cabrillo Maritime Museum. Cabrillo.
Very good.
Here, I'll look it up. According to online pronunciation lady, it's Cabrillo. So we don't pronounce it.
Cabrillo.
Like
I was wrong.
Okay. So that's all in there forever. Cabrillo. Okay, wow. Let me start again now that I know it. So Bill Ollison teamed up with the coordinator of the Cabrillo Maritime Museum to save our lighthouse, which was in danger of being demolished. In their campaign to save the lighthouse, Point Fermin was added to the National Register of Historic Places in the same year, 1972.
Let's go.
And over the next 2 years, the chicken coop was removed and the lantern room reconstructed based on the original blueprints. So
smart.
Kept it historical and returned it to its former glory.
Much prettier.
Yeah, so much better. By 2002, the lighthouse got another renovation. This one, $2.6 million.
Oh my gosh.
So here's I put up a before and after. It's hard to tell, but it really is like it got a facelift. First of all the colors were washed out.
All the paint looks way better.
Yeah, there's like some corrosion and stuff going
New
on.
roof.
And fixed it right up, which is great. And that's only on the outside. It also got new plumbing, electrical work, alarm systems, air conditioning, and period furnishings. So it's historically accurate on the inside as well.
Air conditioning.
I know. Missed out all this time. Is it hot in California? Is it one of those places where it's always
hot?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It gets hot. Doesn't really get cold.
Oh.
They think it's freezing if it's 60.
Yeah.
Oh.
I guess if you're not used to it.
Not all of California. It's a huge state. But my grandma who lived in Ventura, she would comment how cold, how she could get a jacket anytime it was 60. So funny.
Well, she was also a grandma.
She was a grandma.
They're more sensitive to that. I don't want to live somewhere where it gets hot and not cold. I'd rather live somewhere where it gets cold and not hot.
Yep.
You agree with that? It's important
what,
for
am
our
I signing
for our
off
marriage.
on something? Gosh. We'll see. We'll see.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
This has always been something that you knew.
Somewhere that gets cold and not hot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets too hot here.
Then we'll have another house in Arizona. We'll go there every year to golf.
I'm never going to Arizona.
No. Only when it's nice there.
You can't drag me there.
It's a golf mecca. Incredible place. Anyone that wants to weigh in, let us know.
Yeah. Let us know about how hot it gets in Arizona.
Oh, no, don't say that. I lived in Arizona for a short time. 125 degrees is the hottest I saw. There were heat stroke warnings. You get tired walking between your car and the restaurant.
Ugh.
Yeah. Now, that's when you don't live in Arizona, is the summertime.
Yeah.
That was also a terrible, we had a terrible experience in a town called Kingman, Arizona.
What happened?
Oh, it's just not like we lived there and we didn't enjoy it.
Okay.
So
you're not thinking of that Arizona.
I don't want to trash Kingman, but the experience wasn't good.
What was it, 10 years ago? Maybe in the past.
At least 10 years ago.
Maybe in the past decade, it's turned itself around.
15 years ago.
Maybe you're insulting like an Arizona mecca.
It's not just a golf resort. It's the whole.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. No, wait. No, you did this. You apologized.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
So after many years as park employee housing, it was open to the public after this renovation. And this kind of led into the question, where did the lens go? Because
someone definitely has it.
We've heard it a couple times that a war happens, a lens gets crated, like taken apart and crated somewhere, and they just lose track of where it is. It's just, I'd love to see these warehouses where lens get lost. It'd have to be like, don't you think there's probably like really awesome stuff hidden in there that nobody knows about?
I think there's some in some warehouses.
Mm-hmm.
I think most that were ever in warehouses have been rediscovered and sold for cash.
But what does that mean? Like, where are these warehouses where things get rediscovered? Like, who goes in there and look at the crates.
There's gonna imagine it's a shipping and receiving dock area,
Yeah.
and they have massive storage. And there's this one that something happened, business went out of business, or something changed, or there was a war that started. It's like some big event, and some warehouse was left dormant. Shipments were lost or whatever. They were never processed. Well, before too long, the odds are that shipping yard handling area that I don't know anything about this world. They're going to say, hey, we need to use that one again. Everything that's in there is trash because we got to get rid of it so we can use it to make money. So someone on their off time, wink, is going to go through and see if there's anything valuable. Things like historic items, things like a Fresnel lens that, they could, it's not black market, but it is like just unofficial. I know a guy and they buy it and this guy just gets the cash and he's a shipping worker versus whatever. There's a house in California, I think Los Angeles, that was sold not too long ago that has a velociraptor skeleton, like fossilized skeleton, just as part of the house.
Oh my gosh.
It's included in the house. There's people out there that are that wealthy. Like there's like beyond you can imagine. There's people that have a giant first order Fresnel lens in their living room, just like as a talking piece.
It's going to be us one of these days, and we're not going to steal it. We're going to purchase it. Instead of having another house in Arizona, we're going to have a Fresnel lens.
Yeah. We're going to have a copy of Gayhead Fresnel lens, first order. Clockwork. Oh, whatever. Well, it's not clockwork.
Yeah.
A rotational device.
And we'll decorate it around the Christmas time like a big ass tree.
Very nice.
That's the plan.
Someone has it somewhere.
And you're right. So Olesen, remember, he was the guy who saved it originally. He wanted to find the lens before the 100-year celebration back in the 70s.
He found the lens?
He wanted to. And he was talking about it in a restaurant and apparently met somebody there who knew where it was.
What kind of wet market is this?
Very strange. I'd be like, why are you following me? How is that possible? That someone just like, oh, I know where that is.
Some guy in a trench coat. You looking for a Fresnel lens?
Like, yeah, but not from you. A guy named Louis Bush worked in real estate in Malibu, and there was a fourth order lens sitting in his office.
Nice.
And he was told that the lens came from a nautical museum on Santa Monica Pier and was a gift from a family friend. So, like, there's a lot of backstory to how he came to have it. But there was, like, a storm and it got damaged. So then a guy who worked there or something took it home and then he died. So then his son got it. Then the family friend got it too.
Nice.
Louis. He didn't believe that it was from Point Fermin and hung on to it for many years.
Because it's cool.
Yeah. So then Jim Woodward, a Fresnel lens expert, gave some insight on how to tell if the lens was from Point Fermin or not. So this is a new thing I learned. Like, it's when you hear it, it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But in the early 2000s, a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary and Jim compared a photograph of the lens from 1912 and the lens in Lewis's office. And because the lens was made by hand, the screw slots would be in random positions. They're not like all perfectly lined up or anything. So it was like a fingerprint. It's like you'd never unscrew these. So the
screws that were in the copper?
Yeah.
Or brass?
The brass screws. You would compare those in a photo, and if they matched up, then it was like, because apparently no two lenses ever made have the same positioning of screws.
Not made by electricians.
Yeah. Wait, what?
It's kind of a joke. Electricians, when they put those plates on, like on a light switch, they so focused on making the slots run perfectly up and down.
They do?
Some people.
I guess if it's like the only visual proof that something is like
well done.
Yeah. It's like you might as well make them perfectly up and down.
Right.
Yeah, not here. Not our lenses. Let's see. So here's a picture of what they were comparing.
That is so cool.
A picture of the first photo that they were using, and then there's one of it at the lighthouse right now. Because by using this, they compared two photos and found that they matched perfectly. There was no doubt that this was the Point Fermin Fresnel lens.
So there was a lie told to this guy who someone had gifted him
Well,
The
that's not
Fresnel
true
lens.
because the lens could have ended up at a maritime museum.
But someone lied or forgot the
or
history
or
didn't know.
maybe it was just in an unlabeled crate, and they're like, because it doesn't have any sort of plate on it that says where it's from, so it was probably just uncovered, like you said. Somebody sold it off, and like, oh, that'd be great in a museum.
It's portable enough.
Yeah, it's
Couple dudes.
I forgot. I had a really cool picture of them uncrating it at the lighthouse. You can go to their website. I have it linked in our references in the show notes.
Super
and
cool.
They have tons of pictures of when they uncrated the Fresnel lens and were setting it up back in the lighthouse. So this is on the ground floor. In 2006, Lewis allowed the lens to return to the lighthouse, where it was placed on display on the ground floor. And on December 16th, they had a celebration for the lens return, complete with a parade, free cake and ice cream, and fireworks. It's like, heck yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's the kind of energy we need to bring to the table when something like this happens. I mean, it's just like a little lens. Nobody who knows, I mean,
It's a big deal, though.
People who don't know anything about lighthouses would be like, cool. But we're like, wow. Let's set off fireworks.
Yeah.
Very exciting. So now you can see the original lens that was used since it's the lighthouse's conception.
Yeah, there's only ever one lens there,
Mm-hmm.
other than a little light. They still have that light on a pole. Is it?
Yeah, it's somewhere out like, on the point.
Heck yeah. Good for him.
Good for him. He has a job.
Super cool.
Mm-hmm. In 2015, the Los Angeles Department of Recreation and Parks was awarded the lighthouse under the National Historic Lighthouse Preservation Act of 2000.
Clap, clap.
I can't help, every time we talk about it, I can't help but say it fast.
Lighthouse Preservation Act.
Yeah, punchy because it's so long. But they run it today as the crown jewel of oh my gosh, I did it again. Point Fermin Park.
Point Fermin Park.
I don't know why. And it's open for free guided tours from 1 to 4 p.m. Tuesdays through Sundays. So they're only closed on Mondays, but
it's free.
Free.
It's nice.
Of course, you should always donate. Yeah. But
keep it spinning.
They do, I think, one tour every hour, so it's actually pretty limited.
It's got a beautiful floor.
Mm-hmm. It does. It was beautifully restored, so it's definitely a gem that everybody should be going to see.
They're quite romantic too. In fact, Emily thought that I would propose to her at a lighthouse.
Yeah,
which is why I didn't.
Fully convinced.
No, it's not true. But I didn't because we are living in Kansas.
Yeah, because we don't have any of those.
Yeah, So
I would if we planned a lighthouse trip, I would be expecting it.
But now we're engaged. We're gonna get married. Just as a fun side fact, Emily's Christmas present this year, I finally hung it. It is it's a ship mounted lantern that is red. So what is that? Port side? Starboard?
Port.
You sure? Because I don't know. Anyways, it's from Japan, and it was manufactured, I think, in the 1970s. So a really cool company that I guess it's not sponsored, but I should shout them out because they're cool. They were nice to me. Big Ship Salvage.
Big Ship.
Yeah, they worked with me. They answered questions. I wired the thing, so there's a light inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so now we have a red lantern in our living room. It's pretty dope.
Yeah, I cried when I opened it. First, I was like, "What the heck is this?" And then he wrote a little note in there about like where it came from. Yeah, and I was like, "Oh." Vince wasn't around, so I just sent him a video being like, "This is the best gift I've ever gotten." Then I got a ring shortly after that, so trumped it.
Got to keep going up. Next will be a 4th order Fresnel lens.
Yes, that's all I want.
Put it in the bed of your truck.
That could be my wedding gift.
Yeah, if anyone has one, just sitting around.
If anyone wants to donate.
Really, any order.
Anything. 8th would even be spectacular.
Or just a picture of it.
I guess I'm a little pickier than that.
All right. I interrupted. So we're talking about the tours. They got tours every hour. They're free.
Yep. That's it.
Oh, what a perfect time for me to interrupt. Everyone's probably annoyed.
What a perfect time to bring focus to the fact that I had no more notes.
Everybody's probably super annoyed by me this episode. We're back in the saddle again, as that song says.
Chat. Everybody likes when we just chat. Everyone who leaves a review or leaves comments or everything says that they just like to have us chatting in the background.
Well, for those that are still listening, and there are some, I would like to thank you because you listen longer and longer on YouTube.
Yeah.
Which means even though right now the numbers are not growing as far as our followers, which we don't advertise 0%. Those who do listen are listening more and longer. So
they're invested in our content, and that's all we want is for people to listen about lighthouses.
We appreciate that. I think we're the number 3 lighthouse podcast in the world and number 2 in the U.S. Pretty sure. That's what I tell people.
In the world?
I think there's 3 lighthouse podcasts
in the U.S. Oh,
that I'm aware of.
I think you're right.
Yeah, so at least in the ones that I'm aware of, which we've been doing this for several years, we are number 2 in the United States behind Jeremy d'Etremont and Lighthearted from the United States Lighthouse Society. They are very in-depth and focused and professional folks. And what's the UK one? I've forgotten. I'm sorry. I don't forget on purpose. I also forget the name of the venue that Emily wants us to go get married at over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's like I swear it's on purpose.
It's not.
Oh, Keeping Watch?
Perhaps.
Believe it's Keeping Watch. Let's find the host's name so we can.
I feel like we talked about them.
It's part of the Association of Lighthouse Keepers, so it's the UK. Produced and presented by ALK member Edward Pevitt.
Cool. That's also it's a cool name.
Yeah, it is. That's a podcast name. We're about to both have the same last name for our podcast.
Yep.
It'd be so cute.
I'm still working on swag. I know I keep saying that. I'm stuck between like doing a hoodie or a shirt, which that's kind of the same thing. Hoodies. Or a hat.
Maybe a crew neck sweatshirt.
We're already a couple $100 invested in hat research. So maybe both. We'll see.
I wore the hat a lot on vacation.
If it's a really cool design, I wouldn't mind just no one wants them and I just have, 20 sweatshirts. The minimum order, folks, is anyways, no one cares. We're working on swag. Keep you on your toes. Maybe 2025 it'll happen.
Yeah.
We're also supposed to get married.
So there's a lot going on.
Going on multiple trips. Might be helping my dad move.
Yeah, we'll Vince is going back to Sweden. So
back to Sweden.
I really want you to see a lighthouse.
Landsorts Fjord.
Long sorts.
I don't know. It's a pretty cool lighthouse, and you should check out our episode.
So cool, and the guy that owns it will take you up there.
Yeah, he was super nice, although we didn't meet him.
Oh, I'm gonna be so jealous.
Let's briefly revisit this. There's an episode we covered. LANDSORTS.
Yeah,
Landsorts.
FYR. But we didn't. We recorded it before we went on our trip, so we didn't actually. I don't know if we actually said anything about it.
Oh well, it's in Sweden. It's a couple hours from Stockholm via bus and then ferry.
Yes.
We missed the ferry. And the next one was
3 hours later.
And then, which doesn't sound that bad, but we had other plans. And we're international traveling. Yeah.
The spot where you stop for the ferry has a really nice restaurant that was delicious. But there's not much else. That's like it. You wait for the ferry and eat at a restaurant. And
it was a good restaurant.
The last ferry out of the island was like an hour and a half or something.
So we wouldn't have had enough time.
So we wouldn't have had time to. We had a whole day planned on the island, so it just kind of got screwed.
So my mom is obviously my family. That's not obvious. My family comes from Swedish background. The family name was Johnson. Before that, it was Swanson, and then I'm not sure before that, but my mom and my grandma, who's now gone, she really focused a lot on family heritage. Towards the end of her life, she wanted to reconnect with people, and she took my mom to Sweden a long time ago. I think. I know my mom went to Sweden when she was studying abroad. So she went as a college student. And then she took my sister to Sweden when she was young. My sister was the firstborn. And then now we're going to go back, and it's going to be me and my brother. I don't know if my sisters are going or not. I don't think so.
So exciting.
And then my mom. So she's going to take us. And who knows, maybe she's got one more trip, maybe 2 more trips in her life. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to be a part of this one. So I got to go to Sweden with Emily. Obviously, we had some time there with her and her brother. But this will be a family-focused visit, kind of learning some history about.
Yeah, you can see a lot of Sweden instead of just Stockholm and a little bit extra.
Yeah, I don't even know where I'm going yet. It's all on a spreadsheet, of course. But
spreadsheet family.
If Landsorts Fjord, Landsorts, I always say it wrong. Americans. If that's of interest, particularly, or we know it is, but if there's other lighthouses that you say we should check out, even if I can't go for some reason, we're going between two major cities, Stockholm and another big one that I should know, but I'm not very well traveled.
No, you don't have you haven't been studying your spreadsheets.
So.
But yeah,
all the apps.
I'll just be jealously waiting at home for him to come back.
I'll send pics.
I'll FaceTime you.
Snapchat.
Give you a call when I get there.
Very good.
But yeah, we'll still be pushing out episodes, and thank you all for listening in and keeping track. You can see our stuff on Instagram. I haven't posted our Instagram post from the last episode. Oh my gosh,
That's all right. We can stagger our releases.
Huh?
Post whenever you get a chance.
Oh my gosh, it's a failure. I've never done this before.
I was a day late on YouTube once, and then I was a day late or a week late or two on LinkedIn. Those are the platforms I run. Now we're doing a new screen recording software and a new video editing software. So hopefully that means we can improve the quality of things and get things out on time. But either way, different people see Instagram and YouTube and maybe Spotify or Apple Music. They see things different times. So anywhere you're seeing this, anywhere you're hearing it, we appreciate you.
Thanks for following along.
Yeah, even if we're a little sporadic. But hey, we do have other jobs. So this one is
like our second hobby.
This is like our philanthropy. Every time we're like, you should leave them a donation. That's our efforts. So
we love it so much, though, and we're glad you guys are along for the ride. And on that note, we will catch you next time on The Lighthouse Lowdown.